Yeah, man, we about ready to get into it. I think on the last stream, I didn't even look at the oh, I don't even be looking at the videos. I just be editing the views off screen. But I'm gonna look at the views and all that other stuff as they pop up. I got my Twitch app open, so if y'all text me on Twitch, I'll be able to see it on there. Other than that, I think we're ready to get into it. We have 148 followers on Twitch. I really should get back on my Twitch stuff. I'm gonna try to make the week I get on Twitch. Yeah, I'm only doing about 6 videos every day instead of the normal 8, 10, 12. I don't really see that working for me long term. But let's get right into it. Here we go. This is new WWE news. Rhea Ripley returned. AJ Styles retired. WWE star written off TV. Fans hijack Chad Gable. If there's any AEW news on here, we're gonna just straight up skip that. And let's just skip to one.
We're kicking off with Raw, which saw Rhea Ripley's 380-day reign as Women's World Champion hit an unfortunate end as the Australian was forced to vacate due to an injury. This setback will cost Ripley months of action and will result in a new champion being crowned next week, and now more has come to light about the injury in question. According to Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful Select, the decision was made last week that the title needed to be vacated in what can't have been an easy decision for anyone involved. While specific details regarding the injury were not disclosed, reports from Brian Alvarez on the Wrestling Observer Radio indicated that Ripley suffered an AC joint sprain. Initial estimations suggested a recovery timeline of 4 to 6 weeks for regaining mobility, with a potential return to action in approximately 3 months. PW Insider later reported, though, that the exact duration of Ripley's recovery remains uncertain and hinges on factors such as the necessity of surgery and the extent of her physical therapy. The injury occurred not when Liv Morgan threw a chair at Ripley, as many believed, but when Ripley was sent into the wall, damaging the AC joint connecting her collarbone and right shoulder. Should surgery be deemed necessary, Ripley's recuperation may be prolonged, and conversely, avoiding surgery may shorten her recovery, though she'll still need physical therapy. Despite her arm being in a sling, Ripley showed she isn't a woman to be messed with during Raw, as her segment also saw her headbutt a member of WWE's security team. This was played by Stephen Maines, an indie wrestler who appeared on SmackDown in August of last year, where he played a medic who tended to an injured Santos Escobar. As for Ripley, she should make the right decision for her health, not just whatever gets her back on TV first, and we're wishing the best to the former Women's World Champion. On this week's Raw, Chad Gable failed to dethrone Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn and turned heel by attacking the underdog post-match in Sami's native Quebec. Understandably, the Canadian fans in attendance were mad at the attack on Sami in Montreal, and Gable earned quite the un-PG response after Raw went off the air. In fan-recorded footage, the fans in Montreal's Bell Center can be heard delivering a loud "F*** you Gable" chant to the Alpha Academy leader following his actions. Addressing the crowd after Raw, Sami made his feelings clear on Gable given the heel turn, stating, "Chad, I actually kinda get it. Now I understand how it felt for you to let down your family and friends. Guess what? This is my city, these are my people, my friends, and that is my family. Injuries heal, Gable. I just want you to know, as soon as it gets better, I'm coming back to kick your ass." Zayn vs. Gable should be a great feud between two of WWE's most talented stars, and what did you make of Chad's heel turn? Let us know down below.
Is he hurt? I just feel like they're gonna do 30.
At WrestleMania 40, the wrestling world witnessed a seismic shift as Cody Rhodes defeated Roman Reigns, bringing an end to Reigns' dominance as undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Since then, Rhodes has taken on a pivotal role in shaping WWE's new era, working closely under Paul Levesque, who as CCO has helped deliver staggering records for WWE in recent memory. Now, though, it seems some fans have already grown tired of his title run, as on social media, some have been ridiculing Rhodes despite the massive fan support he's had for years.
Not really.
It
was
was that
tired of
fan
his run
support that
like when it
allowed
first
Cody to
started,
finish his
before
story
he
in
even
memory
started.
of his late father Dusty, but it seems some fans are ready for a change already. Some have been
give us something
criticizing what
else.
they see as limited promo skills, a lackluster beginning to his reign, believing Rhodes isn't charismatic, and have called on WWE to put the belt back on Reigns. Of course, it's not compulsory for all fans to like a person as champion, and we should stress that this negativity is dwarfed by the support Rhodes receives from fans every week. Nevertheless, Cody Rhodes' first title defense is set to take place at WWE Backlash France, where he will face LA Knight or AJ Styles, and his challenger will be decided on SmackDown. We'll have to wait and see if his first title defense could turn the tide in his favor and bring a certain section of fans back to the side of the undisputed WWE champion. Since signing with WWE, Jade Cargill has been presented as a massive star on TV, but soon the Storm will get some vital experience about working off camera. In the Wrestling Observer's Daily Update, it's noted that Jade will be taking part in WWE live events this weekend, though her opponent isn't named. Cargill has had a handful of matches for WWE so far, and expectations are high for her. And what do you make of this situation for the former AEW TBS champion? Over to NXT, as this week's episode delivered a shocking revelation as a prominent name from the Gold brand was written off TV following allegations of misconduct. During an intense in-ring segment involving the D'Angelo family and the No Quarter Catch crew, it was implied that the family had been paid to take care of someone. The implication was that the family had orchestrated the removal of Drew Gulak from the picture and that he could be sleeping with the proverbial fishes. The dialogue in this segment hinted at the severity of the situation, and references were made that taking this person out was done for the good of the industry. Ronda Rousey recently revealed that Gulak made her uncomfortable during her WWE run when he pulled on the drawstring of her pants, which she said was highly inappropriate. Pulling on a woman's clothes in a manner that could be seen as trying to remove her pants is not a good look for Gulak, who responded to the claim with the following tweet. Backstage at a WWE event in 2022, I saw Ronda talking with a group in the hallway. I stopped to say hi and shake all their hands, and in an attempt to shake her hand, I accidentally touched her drawstring. Complete accident, and one that I had apologized to her for the mishap. Reports from Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer suggested that there were individuals within WWE who anticipated Gulak's departure from the company in light of these claims. For the time being, Gulak is still listed on WWE's website roster page. His future with the company remains uncertain, pending further updates. This is an unfortunate situation which could spell the end of Gulak's career in WWE, and we'll continue to follow this story for further updates. With Vince McMahon permanently out of the picture, Triple H is now in charge of creative, and it appears WWE might have done away with one of McMahon's long-standing rules. On last week's SmackDown, Tama Tonga made his much-anticipated WWE debut by aligning with Solo Sikoa, laying the groundwork for a new bloodline under Sikoa's leadership. This is potentially setting the stage for a future showdown against Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and others, but what took many by surprise is that Tama used the Tama Tonga name. This marks a departure from the previous regime's tendency to require name changes for wrestlers joining from elsewhere, which has been done for trademark and merch reasons. Allowing Tonga to keep his name shows that WWE, under new leadership, is becoming more flexible with names and gimmicks, and that bodes well for a huge star set to join the company. Fightful Select reports that Julia is expected to retain her name upon her debut, as the Julia name was used for her appearance at NXT Stand and Deliver. Julia is expected to make her proper debut for WWE at NXT Heatwave on July 7th, and it's great that a wrestler's past work won't be scrubbed out once they become a WWE superstar.
I ain't gonna lie to you,
this change aligns with WWE's recent efforts to embrace the wrestling landscape, with the new era seeing references to New Japan and CMLL on TV, and another change from the past. WWE's new era is certainly more open to recognizing what a star has done before, and fans can expect to see WWE embrace a wrestler's past as they continue looking ahead to the future. Tama Tonga certainly has a bright future ahead of him, as he's debuted in one of the biggest storylines fans have seen in years, a fact that Tonga is well aware of. On Busted Open Radio, Tonga's fellow Bullet Club alum Carl Anderson spoke about Tonga's arrival to WWE and the conversation the pair shared before SmackDown. He said, "Just knowing that he was coming last Friday, he had texted me and told me that he was going to show up in the city. I had no clue he was going to debut that night either, which is kind of WWE style. They'll bring you in and then you gotta debut. They told him he was debuting, and it was pretty fun to watch my friend and brother go through the fact that he knows he's about to go live on national television for the first time ever. Really, I'm proud of him. Tama Tonga finished his time with New Japan earlier this year and shared the news of his exit after Wrestle Kingdom 18, but WWE has had its eyes on him for some time. During the podcast appearance, Anderson revealed that he informed Triple H that Tonga's contract was up over a year before Tama signed with WWE. Anderson shared that he informed the game about Tonga's contract after the two faced off in the never openweight title match at New Japan's Wrestle Kingdom 17 event in January 2023. After an impressive New Japan run, Tama Tonga is ready to do big things in WWE, and he's certainly off to a great start following his Bloodline appearance on SmackDown. Roman Reigns news now, as fans haven't seen the Tribal Chief on TV since WrestleMania 40, but the former Universal Champion has been working on a much different project. On Instagram, Keke Palmer shared a photo of Reigns on the set of a new movie, which is said to be a heist comedy that will also involve Eddie Murphy and Pete Davidson. It's unclear when Reigns will return to WWE, though it's expected to be in time for SummerSlam, and until then, the Tribal Chief is flexing his acting muscles out of the ring. On this week's NXT, Tatum Paxley cut a promo targeting Lyra Valkyria and brought up some notable past NXT Women's Champions, but with one glaring omission. In an interesting move, Paxley didn't bring up Mandy Rose's 413-day reign, which is considered to be one of the best runs with the title ever, and was followed by Mandy's release in late 2022. Whether this was a mere coincidence or if WWE deliberately wanted to erase her reign, we'll likely never know, but what wasn't said this week has certainly caught just as much attention as what fans heard. Ridge Holland was in a backstage segment with Ava when Joaquin Wilde confronted him, resulting in Ridge trying to choke out Wilde while Ava tried to calm him down. This led to a match that saw Holland beat Wilde, and with a smiling Shawn Spears watching on, we'll have to see what's next in this storyline.
I thought he was done with WWE. Yeah, he was like, I'm done. I have to move on.
In a matter of days, we'll know whether AJ Styles or LA Knight will challenge Cody Rhodes at Backlash France, but for Styles, this may be one of his last WWE title opportunities. My brain says, we can do this. My body's like, you're stupid, we can't do this. We're hurting every day when we roll out of bed. At some point, this has to come to an end. Styles may want to be the WWE champion again, but time is not on his side as his career spans nearly 30 years and he's picked up his fair share of injuries over that time. The Phenomenal One only returned recently from a sabbatical and suffered a terrible ankle injury before that, and he knows he can't keep going forever. He added, "I love it. This is what I do and what I know. I spent over half my life doing this, but at some point you have to let go because it's fun, but I don't want to disappoint you." At 46 years old, Styles is a future Hall of Famer and is noticeably bigger and stronger than he once was, and could theoretically go for much longer if he took on a lighter schedule. That won't be happening though, as AJ feels like this would be a step backward for his career, and fans wouldn't be getting the best of his work. He added, "I'm getting close to the end. I want to have that story and match to go with it before I leave WWE." A win on SmackDown will propel Styles to the title picture at WWE's first French PLE, but win, lose, or draw, the Phenomenal One knows his time is coming to an end. Back to NXT as Lola Vice collided with Sol Ruca on this week's show, and it was the 2023 NXT Breakout Women's Star who got the win with a Cyclone kick.
Not Sol Ruca.
Post-match, Natalya emerged and had a unique challenge for Vice as the two will meet in the first ever women's NXT Underground match at the upcoming Spring Breakin' event.
She gave me
with Trick Williams in the main event, NXT GM Ava told Ilya Dragunov he'd also be competing on the show, and the Mad Dragon challenged anyone to step up to him. The NXT locker room ran out to answer the open challenge, but it was ultimately Javon Evans who jumped from the announce table to get in the ring first. Evans showed off his athleticism and heart, surviving some brutal shots from the Mad Dragon, but in the end, Torpedo Moscow was too much for the young superstar. Even in defeat, there's few seals of approval clearer than putting Evans in the ring with the NXT champion in his second NXT match. and he's quickly moving up the ranks of the gold brand. While the young OG is far from Dragunov's level, the fact that he could keep up with him for a few competitive minutes bodes well for his future. This was an absolute sprint and a much better showcase for Evans than his debut, and the way he moves makes him look like a force in the ring that cannot be controlled. This was everything it needed to be, and the right star got this spotlight to shine, and Evans should be in the title contention by later in the year. Malik Blade and Idris Anafe showed heart by staying in this fight, but they were completely outmatched as AOP got the win with a Super Collider. This was a necessary squash given AOP's main roster booking and should help re-establish Akam and Rezar as just as lethal as any other tag team. The match was not pretty, and we don't mean that in a good way, as AOP looked tired after what was an easy night at the office. Hopefully, regular in-ring opportunities will get them back in shape for long competitive tag matches, which will be essential if they plan on winning tag gold. Josh Briggs showed off his power early against Ivar, but his bruised ribs that were established last week slowed him down, and the Viking Raider hit a big moonsault to win. If he truly was injured after Stand and Deliver, booking him this early was an odd choice, but if this is just a work, he did a great job selling throughout the match. This was a fine, albeit unnecessary encounter, as Ivar was already the next challenger for Obafemi, and only solidified his claim by beating up an injured man. Femi versus Ivar should be fun, especially since the Viking Raider has always been an unconventional big man and will add some meat to the Spring Breakin' Night 2 card. In our steel cage main event, Carmelo Hayes used the structure to his advantage, but still tried to use his security in his war with Trick Williams. In the end, though, it was 2 trick knees, with the second being through a steel chair, that allowed Williams to get the win, and post-match, Trick had a stare-down with Ilya Dragunov. If the point of this match was to reinforce the main event of Stand and Deliver, it absolutely did, as Trick looked unstoppable and ran over Mello near the end like he was not on the same level. The action was basic and leaned heavily into strikes using the cage, but the story that Trick was not being denied no matter what Hayes threw at him took precedence over the moves. Mello has to go to the main roster to rebuild from here because he cannot be in the same ring as Trick for a while following this result. And as for Trick, all signs point to him being coronated the next NXT champion, a title change that the crowd is absolutely ready to see. Throughout his AEW run, MJF has teased leaving the promotion for WWE in his efforts to rile up the fans, but could such a move actually happen for the former world champion? One WWE name MJF has been spotted with is Liv Morgan, and on the Gorilla Position podcast, Morgan weighed in on whether the ex-AEW World Champion is a future WWE superstar. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. It's not something we talk.
I don't really care about Liv Morgan in any way. So we're just going to skip that. Alright. Just give it a second. I think this is an ad or whatever.
Invest in your future with the Trading 212 ISA. The only stocks and shares ISA.
Okay, I like that.
In recent weeks, WWE has been teasing something big via glitches and QR codes, with many believing that this is leading to the return of Uncle Howdy and possibly others. Alexa Bliss, Eric Rowan, and Braun Strowman have all come up as potential allies of Uncle Howdy, and now you can throw Matt Hardy's name into the mix as well. On Twitter, the ex-AEW star shared a clip from Raw featuring the aforementioned QR code, and more recently, shared a clip of his final deletion match with Bray Wyatt. Matt is certainly suggesting he's involved in the new angle, and we may be seeing Matt back on WWE programming relatively soon. In 2011, Adam Copeland's career was snuffed out prematurely due to an injury, and after a near 9-year retirement, he was able to make an epic return in the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble. Nowadays, fans can find the Rated R superstar in AEW, where he is a 2-time and current TNT champion, but the Canadian knows that his time is coming to an end. Speaking with Brandon Walker on Mostly Sports, Copeland stressed on striking a balance between staying relevant and not overstaying his welcome in the industry. He added that he wants to ensure that younger wrestlers are excited to work with him rather than feel burdened by him before going into what time he has left. He said, "I don't want to be that guy who sticks around to the point where a young guy looks at the sheet and goes, okay, I have to wrestle him tonight. I don't want to be that guy. I want young guys to still be excited if they're going to hop in there with me. I figured maybe I have a year and a half left, give or take. Hopefully I've gotten all the yeahs out by that point. Adam Copeland has done it all in wrestling and knows his career is in its last chapter, but this time Copeland gets to end his career on his own terms, in stark contrast to 13 years ago. On last week's now infamous episode of AEW Dynamite, Will Ospreay had some choice words for Triple H after the game said some wrestlers skip WWE in favor of a lighter work schedule. Though Triple H didn't mention AEW or Ospreay by name, Will responded with a feisty promo on Dynamite and said that Triple H only got to the top by grinding on Stephanie McMahon. This line has raised questions as to whether it was needed, especially in front of Renee Paquette, who is a friend of Triple H and Stephanie, and now Kevin Nash has weighed in. On his Click This podcast, Big Daddy Cool questioned why Ospreay would take Triple H's comment as against him, given that the game mentioned no names. He said, "If you got the balls to f***ing take a shot at the f***ing boss's wife, and then you got the balls to f***ing show up and ask for a f***ing job, he better be f***ing able to have the balls to take whatever he's gonna dish. Everything in this business is part of the show. Is Will Ospreay an exceptional talent in his style? Absolutely. Does he have a place in this business? Absolutely. Since Paul didn't mention him by name, then there's no need for anyone to be upset. This situation highlights why he might not have made the move to WWE. He may not have a deep understanding of the business like others do. Jade Cargill was smart in her approach. Look at Jade." While many believed Ospreay would sign with WWE last year, he opted for AEW instead, and his comments may have hurt his chances of a future potential move to WWE. But what do you think of all this? Was Ospreay out of line with his comment, or is anything fair game in the world of pro wrestling? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Last week, AEW hosted its weekly Collision and Battle of the Belts events, but it wasn't just the wrestlers in the ring who were feeling worse for wear when the taping ended. During his What Happened When podcast, Tony Schiavone shared that he was injured when a board hanging in the talent relations.
Yeah, is it all just gonna be AEW crap? Okay.
Room fell.
I mean to unpause it. It seems like that's all all it is, and that's all it's gonna be. Thank y'all for watching. I'll see y'all.